This is a demonstration of using the foreCASH quick setup wizard. Within foreCASH, I've specified a 3-year forecast starting in January 2009. I also have an Excel file that contains 2 years of profit and loss data, years 1 and year 2. So for year 3, I'll use foreCASH's percentage uplift feature. I'll set the uplifts. Year 3 is what I'm interested in. I've got a 10% default, which I'll use for most categories, but for sales, I'm going to assume I want a 15% increase. I also have the option to set a rounding, which just makes some of the numbers easier on the eye. Okay, I'm now ready to run the wizard. So I need to browse to my Excel file. Now I need to map exactly where the data is. Okay, my data's in sheet 2. I've only got one sheet here, but you have the option to choose a sheet if you have multiple sheets. I've got a few header rows. My description is in column A, which looks good. My first year of data is year 1. I do have the option to use prior year data as a starting point. I have 2 years worth of data. Year 1 is in column B as the default there, but I need column P for year 2. I can create a linked data feed. There's more information on that in alternative videos. And for year 3, I'm going to add a derived feed, and that's going to use our percentage uplifts. So moving to the next stage, I need to categorize each of the lines. So some of the lines, for example, header, blank, subtotal, aren't used by the wizard. But if I come to the start of my sales section, selecting that item, I've now made that line yellow, so it will be incorporated. The following lines will assume you're in the same category, so if I come to the end of my sales, I can then specify that that's a subtotal line, and that's not needed. Let's go to the cost of sales now. Again, get to the last line, or I've got a subtotal there at the end of cost of sales. I can either arrow down or type the starting letter to find what I'm looking for. I've got some gross margin calculations, which foreCASH will calculate for me. So coming on to direct costs, a couple of those. Into overheads. Overheads can be categorized within 3 types. The first one looks like a salary. So let's specify that. Got some property costs. You've got the option to split out property and other overheads if you want to. If not, you can always just put everything as a general overhead. So let's put those as general. Okay, then down to a blank line. Some other subtotals. Got some depreciation. So let's find depreciation. Again, depreciation can be sat as a direct cost. It can go into overheads, or I can put it after the EBITDA line, which I'm going to do here. Same for the next one. And I'm almost there. And then the last line I've got down here is interest. Now I'm not going to map interest. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up loans within foreCASH and overdraft facilities, invoice finance facilities, and let foreCASH calculate how much I'm borrowing, what I'm repaying, and what interest would be generated on those borrowings. So that looks good. Coming up to the very last stage, there's just one little thing that you can set in relation to cost of sales. So foreCASH has looked at the names of my sales record and my cost of sales records, and it's actually done its best to match them, and all those look correct. So that's fine, and I'm ready to go ahead and build a forecast. Okay, and it's taken my 18 lines from the P&L and used those to build the forecast. So let's just see exactly what's happened there. So if I run my operating profit summary, it's used the figures in my Excel file to build a forecast, and I can use Excel as a detailed reporting tool, and I'll push that. Excel's there so you can share with other users, banks or lenders, etc. Let's bring up that Excel file. We can then see I've got my 3 years worth of data, 19, 20, 21, including figures in 2021, where it's used my 15% uplift rounded to £1,000. My sales figures, I've also got my cost of sales split by the product categories, direct costs. Further down into overheads, I've got my salaries, there was just a single line of those, a couple of overheads from property, and my general overheads. Now, the foreCASH wizard uses Excel as its source, but you can use this feature to incorporate data from other forecasting packages. If you've got a Winforecast forecast, then please see a separate video on preparing data, how to get data out of Winforecast into Excel format. Stage 50 forecasting, use Excel as its reporting tool, so that information is available, ready to go straight into foreCASH. You might have some management accounts with all your key sales and overhead line. You could have an Excel budget, but you want foreCASH to do your balance sheet and cash flow calculations for you, or you might just have a sales forecast in Excel, which is a starting point for a budget, and once you've run the wizard, you can add in overheads manually afterwards. Now, this has been a very brief demo, and before running the wizard yourself, we suggest you watch our full step-by-step demo. If you need any help, please contact us via email or telephone. In the meantime, thank you for watching.